pure obsession, and that's unhealthy. The next one is abandonment of individuality. And so what I mean by this is that certain family members will not allow you to be your individual self. They will not allow you to be independent. They will make statements to make you feel that you are dependent. You're never going to make it without me. You know you can't get a good job. You know you're on drugs and I'm going to have to take your kids away from you. Those kind of statements, really what they're trying to do is cause you to abandon your independence. They want that control from you. There's a video that I did a couple weeks ago or months ago on mommy dearest parents. I'm going to put that right up here for you. And a lot of mommy dearest parents really do zone in on finding your weakness, and they want to use that weakness to their benefit, and they will say things like, you're never going to make it without me, you know you can't raise your kids, that kind of thing. Okay, passive aggressive behavior, slamming doors, blackmailing you, turning your kids against you, making statements about how terrible you are as a parent or a wife or a husband, really manipulating your finances, right? Those are all passive aggressive behaviors. Making statements to other family members, hoping it gets back around to you. Those are all unhealthy, toxic behaviors, as I'm sure you're already aware of, and that's not appropriate, okay? So that's another sign that you have an unstable, obsessive, a narcissistic family member in your path. The next is irrational motives and beliefs. Somebody who has an irrational motive or a belief against you is a problem, and you need to back away from them. It could include delusions, right? So beliefs of things that are not true, despite evidence to the contrary. So there's no evidence, there's no proof, there's no objectivity in this situation, but the family member believes it anyway. I had consulted with an individual over in Egypt last year. She was an awesome client. And she had a family member who had married she and her husband. He was a pastor and he married them. And not only did he marry them, but he stalked them online and he stalked them in person. He would follow them. He would make statements on her social media account. He even would show up at grocery stores in the parking lot and show up at family events he wasn't invited to. And he showed up at the hospital when she gave birth. And he really did feel that he was really attached to that family. And his irrational belief and his irrational motives were scaring she and her husband. His irrational belief was that he was going to be chosen as her baby's godfather, and that's not what she had in mind. His irrational motives consisted of following she and her husband just to prove that he cared about them, and it was very, very unstable. So, you know, that can happen over in the United States. It can also happen in your family as well, wherever you're from. I think a lot of us feel like, well, that's not going to happen to me, but it's a possibility. I was shocked to hear that a situation like that even existed. All right, the next is dysphoria or depressed mood. If you have a family member who is depressed and dysphoric, or they're struggling with dysphoria, I should say, which is like this chronic depressive mood that's hard to really move out of its place without medication or counseling. If you have a family member like that, they're most likely to do things that are inappropriate to you, like stalk you online, or be passive aggressive, or make suicide threats just to make you uneasy and uncomfortable, or manipulate you for your kindness and your concern. So that's another thing to watch out for. Isolation and withdrawal. A family member who isolates and withdraws can be really unstable. Again, they have too much time on their hands to stalk you, obsess about you, control you, manipulate you. Those are the kind of situations where you need to just escape and get away. All right. Emulation of your patterns. There are certain family members who are just simply envious of you. They're obsessive and they're unstable, and they may try to follow your patterns. They may get married when you get married. They have as many kids as you have, right? They try to dominate you and control you. They try to mimic the kind of lifestyle that you're leading, the kind of education that you're getting for your kids. You know, all of those things can be overwhelming, and not only overwhelming, but also toxic. You know, it can start a lot of firestorms within the family. The next is anger and rage. That's another characteristic that you need to run away from. Somebody who has intermittent explosive disorder, I'm going to put the definition over here for you, or somebody who has anger that is unresolved from trauma or abuse or anything of the kind. those kind of individuals need to get help, because if they don't, they're going to become poisonous to you. The next that I have on my list is stalking and spying. There are some family members who are just that obsessive to where they will stalk you and obsess over you. And that's where you need to put up the boundary, and that's where you need to say, this is not going to happen. If I have to take legal steps, I will. If I have to get a PFA, a protection from abuse order, a restraining order from you, or for you, I should say, then I'm going to do it, right? And there's a lot of controversy about those, and we may talk about it at some point on this channel, but I like to throw that out there just in case. At least a PFA and restraining order is a legal document that says this person is abusive. You know, whether it keeps that person away from you or not really doesn't matter. The thing that matters the most, or the foundation of it, is you're putting that person's abusive behavior on record. So really that's the best way to look at that. But if you have a spying and obsessive and stalking family member, then you may have to go to those lengths to protect yourself and your family. So thank you so much for coming back to my channel, guys, and for being with me today watching this video. I encourage you to give it a thumbs up if it was helpful to you, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Stick around with us. If you have some suggestions for me on further topics revolving around families, let me know. We're going to be talking about families all through the month of September, and then next month we're going to delve in a little bit deeper into the topic of trauma. I think a lot of you are going to enjoy October, so I'm hoping that you also enjoy September as well, because we all have issues within our families. So, all right, guys, so I'll see you on Wednesday with another video. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.